Hello everyone. Today we're going to see about one of the important kitchen ingredient in everybody's home without which everything turns bland. But before we continue, I would like to remind you to subscribe for the channel and tap on the bell icon to keep yourself notified on the videos being uploaded, and don't forget to leave your comments down below. So what is salt? It is 40% sodium, 60% chlorine, and it makes our food 100% delicious. Source: mostly it is from seawater or mined deep down to earth. Seawater is allowed to evaporate, leaving the salt behind. So basically, it is the child of the purest parents, the sun and the sea. Underground salt is extracted by drilling or cutting, then using machinery to break up into smaller pieces. Did you know that these Roman soldiers were paid in salt? It is said to be from this that we get the word soldier in saldere, meaning to give salt. Salt was a valuable commodity, also referred to as a white gold. Now let's see why we need salt. It's not about the taste, but we're going to see about how important it is for our body. One of the most important electrolyte required for cellular homeostasis. It also helps our thyroid to function normally, keeps the body hydrated, and prevents low blood pressure. So, what is electrolyte? Consider a cell which requires a balance of positive and negative charges to produce energy. Similarly, our body cells require a balance of these charges to regulate our bodily functions. Many processes require electrical signals for communication, especially in nervous system, brain, and muscles. For example, sodium ions are necessary to generate those electrical signals. Too much sodium or too little can cause cell to malfunction, and if taken to an extreme, it can be fatal. How much salt is too much? WHO, the World Health Organization, recommends that the adults consume less than 5 grams per day. 5 grams is 1 teaspoon. How much do we take? On an average, an Indian consumes 10 grams per day. That is almost the double of the recommended intake. So now let us take a look in the role in preservation. Centuries prior to the invention of electricity and refrigeration, salt was primarily used to preserve food. But how? Reducing the availability of water in the foods, thereby depriving the microorganisms from using the available water as a nutrient and decreasing the enzymatic activity. According to the European Food Safety Authority, approximately 75% of the salt we eat is already in the foods we buy. How? We already saw the salt's role in preservation. So this is one of the reasons. And let us see the other reasons also. Salt isn't just salty. The salt doesn't only give a salty flavor, but it also enhances the other flavors. And it also hides the unpleasant metallic or chemical flavors. It also enhances sweetness, rounding out all over the balance of flavors and improving the taste of food. You will get this when you see a list of surprising foods that you didn't know it contains salt. These are the list of foods that we have in our regular diet with their sodium content per 100 gram. So breakfast cereal contain about 6 milligrams, and tomato sauce, the ketchup that we consume, is 907 milligrams, and the soya sauce 5493 mg, and vegetable or meat stocks 198, canned vegetables and legumes 310, bread 439, biscuits 580. So now let us see what happens if we take excess of salt. Hypernatremia, high sodium blood. That is, hyper is high, natrium is sodium, and blood is emia. We must have heard doctors giving advice to the patients with heart disease to reduce their sodium intake. Why is that so? Eating salt raises the amount of blood in your bloodstream and wrecks the delicate balance, reducing the availability of kidneys to remove water. The result is a higher blood pressure due to the extra fluid and extra strain on the delicate blood vessels leading to the kidneys. Well, it seems that the sodium is not only the culprit that increases the blood pressure, it also depends on other foods and factors. So basically, there are two types of hypertensives, that is, salt dependent hypertensives and salt independent hypertensives. Type 1 is kind of common, and type 2, there are very small group of people whose blood pressure comes down when they take excess sodium. So now let us see the high sodium intake, which has effects on the bones too. Calcium is a mineral that helps to strengthen the bones. So people on a high salt diet may need more calcium to make up for the calcium lost along with the excess sodium. Also, urinary calcium, the main constituent of kidney stones, is increased by a high salt diet. Therefore, a high salt diet can lead to painful kidney stones. So, those salt lovers who think you can solve this by having calcium supplements, sorry to say, the more supplementary calcium you take, the more you lose. So, those of you who plan to reduce your sodium intake every day, sorry to say, it also has effects when you have low sodium levels, such as insulin resistance, is when your body cells doesn't respond well to the signals from the hormone insulin that may lead to the higher insulin and blood sugar level. When the sodium levels in the body are low, water tends to enter the cells, causing them to swell. When this occurs in the brain, it is referred as cerebral edema. Cerebral edema is particularly dangerous because the brain is confined to the skull without room for expansion, and the swelling can lead to brain damage as the pressure increases within the skull. Cerebral edema occurs only in severe cases of hyponatremia. Headache, confusion, or altered mental state, seizures, and decreased consciousness, which can proceed to coma and death, are the other symptoms. Now let us see, why do we need iodine? Human body needs iodine to make thyroid hormone. And why do we need thyroid hormones? During fetal development, infancy and childhood, thyroid hormone is essential for the brain and the nervous system to develop normally. Too little iodine and thus too little thyroid hormone can lead to mental retardation, dwarfism, hearing loss, and other problems. Later in life, thyroid hormone controls metabolism. Adults who don't take enough iodine can develop goiter, that is nothing but a swelling of the butterfly shaped gland, that is the thyroid, in the neck. And the low output of thyroid hormone can lead to sluggish metabolism, poor thinking skills, infertility, thyroid cancer, and other conditions as well. So, suddenly, why did we come up a discussion with iodine? It is a constituent of salt, and iodine is critical micronutrient in human diet. That is something our bodies can't synthesize, and that we have to rely on food to obtain. When we compare sea salt or iodized salt, sea salt doesn't contain as much as iodine as iodized salt. It does provide some, but not enough to satisfy the recommended daily allowance of 150 micrograms. 350 million people are at the risk of IDD, that is, iron deficiency disorders. So that's all about this topic salt. And the next topic is about face mapping. It seemed to be interesting, so I'm gonna discuss about in the next video. It is an ancient Ayurvedic and Chinese medical technique that involves the using the pattern of acne development on your face to assess your overall health. So stay tuned, guys.